Hey Warwick, thanks for joining us again this week. We're really grateful to hear from you again. I sit here again feeling like it's incredibly hard to believe. Hey, last week we were sitting at a level 2 and now today we sit at a level 4 in our nation. Talk to us about important things that we need to remember about sticking to level 4 guidelines. Talk to us about the importance of doing this together.
Tēnā Pastor Karen. Yeah, this is a big week, and every week recently has been a big week, but this has been a particularly big week, really life-changing for everyone, not only in New Zealand, but around the world. So we're all in this together, as you say. I think the sticking to level 4 is incredibly important. I mean, New Zealand has acted earlier than other nations in the same position, and that's been done in order for us to try and get ahead of the curve. We spoke about that last week. We want to act ahead of this potential tsunami of cases. So we've gone early, which I think is entirely the right thing to do, and now each of us has our part to play in doing it. And the main message is stay at home to save a life. That's really as bottom line as it gets. The Prime Minister's spoken about being in your bubble, and that's people that you are isolating with in your home. So that's the bubble in which you should stay and maintain, and are required to under the directives issued by the government. And this is not for fun or because someone's trying to harm us. This is really all to try and help us, because the more we can contain movement, the less the chance is for COVID-19, the disease, to spread. So I think this is incredibly important. And I think the other message that we talked about last week, which I want to reiterate, is that we need to act as if we have the virus, not as though we're going to get it.
Yeah, and we've heard that a lot from Jacinda as well. Hey, that's the communication that they're saying. So Warwick, I've heard it said by some other Christians that we should be continuing to gather, that we're actually demonstrating a lack of faith by not gathering because God will continue to protect us. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, Karen, I've also heard some of those messages, and I think that's deeply concerning. I think there's clear evidence through history that just believing in God doesn't mean that you're guaranteed of being safe. God's no genie in a bottle that we rub and suddenly have a protective coat around ourselves. So I think that we need to consider that self-isolation is probably the most generous thing we can do right now at the moment. This is a very serious viral illness that is taking many people's lives, and if we are going to save lives as Christians, then what we need to do is adhere to the level 4 self-isolation guidelines. Many Christians argue for pro-life and are anti-euthanasia. Well, here's an opportunity to really save lives by staying at home and keeping at home, because staying at home will save a life.
Wow, awesome. I've also heard all sorts of other interesting myths, shall we say, and misconceptions that are going around about COVID-19 and about how to prevent it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So again, Karen, as we talked about last week, there is no cure for COVID-19, but there is, of course, supportive treatment if that's needed. Most people are going to have a mild illness and get better on their own. But the myths that are harmful, so drinking water to keep your mouth wet the whole time, making sure that it's only warm, holding your breath, taking vitamins, all of this is absolute nonsense and will make no difference to anyone whatsoever. So we need to stick to the authoritative Ministry of Health guidelines. The things that will help us, number 1 is to self-isolate, number 2 is to wash our hands and wash them well. If we've coughed, use good cough etiquette. If you get sick, someone gets sick in their home, they need to further isolate themselves to one room. So these are the things that we can do that actually make a difference and are proven to make a difference. And let's not add to conspiracy theories and nonsense therapies that give false hope.
Awesome. And I guess lastly, Warwick, if we do level 4 well as a nation, will this stop COVID from spreading?
I think there's clear evidence that we've seen from around the world that strict level 4 following of guidelines will slow the progress of this pandemic. We've seen now that in China they are relaxing the strict laws that have been put in place there, even in the epicenter of where this has occurred. So we know that it can be done. If every single one of us does our part and takes it really seriously, we will definitely make a difference. The only reason to leave your home is if you need food or if you need medical attention. Otherwise, please stay at home to save a life.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Warwick. Appreciate your time. We're going to be speaking to Warwick each week and just getting the opportunity to stay that little bit more informed about this virus. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Warwick, for being with us, and join us again next week to find out more. Thanks.
Ka kite ano.